speaker is Lisa Marie Capoletta. You'll please approach the podium and state your name for the record.
Hi, I'm Lisa Marie Capoletta. I live at 1322 Belvin. I kind of wish y'all would have put some knockout drops in that belt buckle because I got so upset at the P&Z about that one issue, and I apologize I got upset. I've calmed down a little bit, and I wanted to offer some suggestions for y'all regarding future developments. I talked about this last week at the P&Z. The first thing that's important is that we have a timeline that allows for public input. We don't want to have an item that's going to impact people, whether it's flooding or maybe there'll be a native artifact issue or historic trees, and it's voted on one meeting on a Tuesday, and the following Tuesday it comes before the dais. I think we need to open it up to public hearings and allow the citizens to come. Some of these workshops have just kind of been posted, and you have to kind of be Jessica Fletcher to find out when they are. The other thing I wanted to suggest that we have an actual site plan with the hydrology models. I've learned lots of stuff. I'm not a good map reader. I can't find my way out of a paper bag, y'all, but I've learned how to read maps this week. It's really interesting to me that we don't have site plans. We just have kind of general models, and right now we don't even have the finalized site plans as they interface with a finalized site plan for a variety of different developments in town. I think it's important that we look at the notion of sinkholes here, because we've got those car features in our community, we've got caves, and it's a prime situation for a ticking time bomb of a sinkhole. If you look at some of the research from the National Geographic in August of 2013, specifically within the context of the features that we have here in town, like carves, features, and caves, they tell us, quote, "We also introduce sinkholes when we start putting up parking lots and buildings and changing what we call the hydraulic regime. Instead of the water naturally soaking into the ground, it's now running off and being concentrated, being put into the ground at one point." Then the article continues, "There's no national or international sinkhole database. Still, as our population grows and we develop and more susceptible, we seem to be seeing more sinkholes and more stories about humans being impacted. Would that not be horrible optics for our community if a sinkhole erupted in our community? It would make national news. I know my videos on the woodlands hit Al Jazeera. They use it for B-roll, and my videos went viral. So could you imagine how I just can't imagine what would happen if it hit international news if a sinkhole opened up. I mean, think about how many different caves we have around here in this area. The other thing is we need to stop building over the aquifer recharge zone and be mindful of construction particulates. Like at the Ella Lofts, they had all that runoff from the flame retardant and the styrofoam pebbles from the Schlotzskys. There's fumes and sounds and lots of exhaust. I appreciate y'all's time tonight, and God bless St. Marcus.
Thank you very much. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and go through those folks that have signed up to speak, which are 4, and then I'll open it up for additional public speakers during this public hearing. We'll start with Lisa Marie Capoletta. You'll please approach the podium, and you'll need to state both your name and your address for the public hearing.
One second. I'm sorry, that went quick. Let me get my timer up. I'm sorry. Hi, I'm Lisa Marie Capoletta. I live at 1322 Belvin. First of all, I want to apologize to the public. I should have been on top of this. My assumption was that this was not going to come to the table until the final FEMA flood maps were finalized. That's some alliteration, isn't it? And I just, as a member of the public who's an activist, I just didn't understand where this property was. And I wish there would have been more public involvement. The first thing I would ask for the City Council to consider is to purchase this as parkland. It kind of reminds me of another scenario where we could have purchased parkland. I think that this is something the public has been pretty forthright about that they want. It has impervious cover implications. It also has implications as far as just the beauty of our town. I mean, there's tons of historic trees. I don't understand how anybody could claim that they would have trees and they could preserve the trees when it's just a beautiful forest there. It's a green space. It's literally right across from another green space. There could be endangered species there. I know that we have archaeology. They found a civilization when they did the Wonder World overpass. It's in the recharge zone, or it's in the transition of the recharge zone. And you guys know the purpose of the recharge zone is to recharge the recharge zone. That's where the water goes. Water is life. And we're running out of water here in our community. We're running out of water in the state of Texas, even California. The Californians are coming over to the Texicans because they need some water. And I think it's a responsibility of the dais to protect the beauty of this community, and it should be parkland. I really hope that you open this up for dialogue. I don't think the community realized what was going on, and now I do, and I'm going to become more involved. Finally, I would just implore you guys to be more robust. Why do you guys walk around when we speak? I just never understand that. It's called parading. I just wish you guys would be more, I don't know, mindful of the artifacts. How would you feel if your grandma was dug up? It would be very disrespectful. And those graves aren't marked. It's a different kind of culture. They don't mark their graves, but we know there are mounds there. So I'm just asking you guys to look into your hearts, to think about what's best for the community in the long term. It's not to develop this and put it into pavement. It's not to create some sort of interconnectability because of buzzwords that now are in vogue with city planners that deal with other organizations like the municipal cities and all that. It's the beauty of our community, and that's green space. And when there's green space directly across the street for that, it begs the question, why are we not making this green space? I really appreciate y'all's time, and God bless San Marcos.
Thank you very much.
Just a moment ago.
I didn't talk about HEB. I haven't said HEB in any of
But
my
you
comments.
spoke during this
Is
particular
this
public
are
hearing.
we on the PDD or the PSA?
We are on item number 14, which is the PSA.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's the next. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Individual that has signed up to speak so far, Lisa Marie Coppola. If you'll state your name and address for the public hearing record.
Hello, my name is Lisa Marie Coppola. Do you like my rain boots? I think they match my suspenders really well, and I may have to wear these if HEB builds over there. I never walk to the CVS, y'all. I walk all the way downtown. It's closer for me to walk to the CVS, but that would be taking my life into my own hands. On the very night you guys are talking about the FEMA flood grant, we have a potential for my neighborhood to flood out. Amazon is right over there by McCarty, as is the Outlet Mall, as is the high school. Why do y'all want to divert traffic to the other side of town? That's an area of stability that won't flood. You've got the Embassy Suites there. I say give HEB an incentive and move it over there. The other thing that's really important is that y'all need to know that your flood of record doesn't take into account all the previous floods. CVS floods, Jude. You and I had a phone conversation yesterday. And you know that area floods, and you guys know that those banks flood, and you know that the government center's in the flood zone. You guys know that the banks and the government center and the Kissing Tree weren't there before with the flood of record. Now, in terms of the flooding, almost a year ago to the day, I asked the Blanco Gardens to stand down when they got those elevation letters, and now I'm afraid I'm going to get one for my historic house on Belvin. You guys don't have the finalized official FEMA flood maps. The Code Rodeo hasn't been adopted. I say give rebates to homeowners who have to purchase flood insurance as a result of these developments. I say offer up security agreements so it won't become a debauchery pit, and that's what Mr. Jamie Bryan said. He predicted that with the woodlands. You guys are talking about taking water out of the flood zone and putting it into the flood zone. We know that the creek doesn't drain because I've got footage from San Marcos News Live on YouTube a day after the November flood, and that bridge did not drain. Some of these pipes will be in the flood zone. That was admitted yesterday. The water will the water be blown away if there's a flood? Because he's admitting that the storage facility will only be 8 to 10 feet down, and that even the pipes are going to be higher. Right? If they dig deeper to fix that issue, then they could hit the aquifer or a cave. You guys can't predict a sinkhole. That is not scientific for you, Ben, to say that you guys can't detect any sinkholes. Those are formed as a result of development, and those are the quotes that I'm giving you from experts in the field. A private corporation should not be monitoring these underground wells. It should be a city staff member or someone from the TCEQ. Lori admitted yesterday that the Purgatory Creek needs to be cleaned out from the last flood. And I've got footage from my YouTube channel that the drains were clogged during the last flood. Also, this construction site will become moving projectiles for those of us who live in the historic district. These firms, I would love to know more about the aquifer. Melissa dropped a big rhetorical bomb on us earlier about the Flint, Michigan, and my jaw dropped. There's nothing as far as a rigorous shovel test. How far down did they deep? Who did the studies? I rumbled with Dovetail Development for years about this, and I never got any response from them. Finally, I'm worried about the construction exhaust, the 18-wheelers exhaust, and all the additional traffic. Give them incentives. Do it over at McCarty Lane. Thank you for your time, and God bless San Marcos.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else speaking on this item this evening? Anyone else speaking on this public hearing in favor or in opposition? Anyone at all? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and close this public hearing and ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion from Mr. Gregson. Is there a second? Second. A second from Mr. Prather. Questions, comments, amendments on the PDD?
Yes, I'd like to offer
Councilwoman